This is the second part of the review of the Huawei Watch GT3 in two versions. For those who have not watched the first one, a link to it can be found in the description of this video or in the tips. Subscribe to my channel and leave your questions about the watch in the comments. In this video, I talk about everything that was not said in the last part, and we can say that in this way I fill in some information gaps and supplement my material. So, for the current video, I used a smaller version of the watch as the main one. I connected it to my main Huawei smartphone, but I connected the 46mm version to the iPhone. You can say that I just swapped them, compared to the last video, of course. By the way, when connecting to Huawei, the watch is detected by the smartphone automatically and a window appears directly on the smartphone screen with a suggestion to connect a new watch. For the appearance of such a window, I personally did not do anything. The smartphone itself found the watch ready to connect. In the last part, by the way, I said almost nothing about the appearance, so I immediately correct myself. Both versions of the watch are made of steel, and in my case, both versions of the straps are also made of steel. The watch is coolly polished, both versions look bright in their brilliant classic design, it's really attractive. And, of course, fingerprints may remain on the case. The strap of the larger version comes complete with additional segments. This will be useful for those who have a really big hand, and everything came right out of the box for me. If desired, the straps can be easily replaced. A standard watch strap fastening system is used here. And this time, Huawei immediately prepared a whole collection of additional branded original acts with the release of the watch, many of which are combined with branded watch faces. It really looks cool. The back of the watch is made of plastic. It's a pity, of course, that it's not made of ceramics, like the GT2 Pro version, which I also have an overview of on my channel, but this is also suitable for charging the watch using wireless charging. In general, I liked the performance of the watch in both versions, even in small things. It seemed especially cool to me that there are micro inscriptions on the case here. This is such a small inscription on the swivel head and on the straps. It looks cool and leaves the impression of some high level of quality of this product. I have no complaints about the quality of the display, they showed themselves perfectly during use. In addition, there are two important points here. The first is the auto brightness function. It is here, and it works correctly. At least, she never forced me to go into the settings and adjust the brightness to the desired condition manually. Well, the second is the function of the Always He display, that is, the watch face can be constantly visible on the screen, as I have now. There are several such preset dials, their set is not very large, but some of them can change the color of the design at will. With this mode, the power consumption of the clock, of course, will be slightly higher than with the standard one. And I call the standard method of use when you activate the screen by lifting the watch. So, in the all-wise mode, heat energy consumption in my tests was about 2 to 3% per hour, and you can thus estimate how much the watch can live on a single charge when using the all-wise mode. Actually, he is a display. But unless, of course, it is worth taking into account the intensity of the use of the watch. Perhaps you call a lot through the clock or you receive a bunch of some notifications there and the screen is often activated, so, of course, this should also be added to the energy consumption. And then, of course, the clock will last less. I took on this average of my normal use, when I have a watch on my hands and from time to time some notifications arrive, for example, in messengers. Another interesting thing is that the watch has a do not disturb mode on schedule. For me, this is very important, since the screen is not activated, there is no raising of the hand, there are no incoming notifications, and of course, when the do not disturb mode is running, the watch does not make sounds and does not vibrate. This is important because they can be used, of course, to track sleep, and they do it quite correctly. You can find out about sleep and other indicators not only on the watch itself, but also, of course, in the smartphone app, and in the second case it will be more detailed information. Now on the main screen of the application there are not only cards with indicators of all the data that the watch collects, but also another section called Health. In this section, you can set goals for a healthier lifestyle, track timely awakenings and set reminders, drink water, smile, perform breathing exercises, be active and go to bed on time. Health is a useful and convenient thing. For example, in the Play Store or in the App Store on the iPhone, you can find applications that do all these functions separately, and perhaps even these applications are sometimes paid. For example, I'm talking about a reminder to buy water, but here you get it built in and can use it absolutely for free. Moreover, it works quite unobtrusive and everything is implemented quite clearly. Earlier, I must say, I did not take this very seriously, but now I have reconsidered my attitude after all. Now I try to stick to the implementation of these points, and it seems to me that this is a very useful habit. And for several days I have been able to close all the assigned tasks. By the way, after closing all these tasks for the day, notification of successful completion comes to the clock and you can see in the application itself how successful you are among other users in these tasks. By the way, the sensors on the back of the watch have been slightly improved. For example, here is a new heart rate sensor. It has more sensitive elements and they are arranged so as not to interfere with each other's work. Artificial intelligence is also working on the results of these measurements. And according to Huawei, in order to clarify the results. By the way, this is what a curtain with access to quick settings looks like. Here you can activate the screen for 5 minutes. This is also configured in the menu. You can turn on Do Not Disturb mode, you can remove water from the speakers, you can find your phone, edit alarm clocks and go directly to the clock settings, to the settings menu. By the way, again, the bottom button on the watch, this one here, can be reassigned to another action, if you don't have to have quick access to training, if you're not as interested in it as, for example, I don't know, music, maybe someone has the weather. By the way, the Huawei Health app has the ability to store your weight data, track the dynamics from my weight. You can bring them here by manually collecting them from some other scales, but I personally use Huawei Scale 3 smart scales for this. They are equipped with Wi-Fi and connected to the same account as my Huawei smartphone, and therefore the data automatically arrives on the smartphone right after the measurement. This is extremely convenient. I highly recommend watching a review of these scales. I also have it on my channel. This video seems to me especially useful to those who are interested in their health, well-being, because the scales show not just the weight, but also the composition of the body thanks to the method of impedance measurement, that is, by passing weak impulses through your body, they determine what the composition of the body is. See the review. On the watch itself, by the way, you can not only listen to music directly by connecting headphones to them, but also control the playback of content on your smartphone. That is, when the watch is connected, in the interface you choose to control the music on the watch or manage the content on the smartphone, and you can, for example, rewind, turn on the next track or adjust the volume if you need it. Here with the help of. So, I won't turn on a lot of music so that YouTube doesn't ban me. In general, you can control music on your smartphone, and not only. It is also much more interesting that you can even manage video content, not only videos on a smartphone, but even if the video from the smartphone is wirelessly broadcast to the TV. Another interesting thing is the work of a bundle between a Huawei smartphone and a Huawei watch. When an alarm clock is triggered on a smartphone, the alarm clock interface is broadcast here on the clock and it can either be turned off or postponed. That is, the alarm clock on the smartphone can be controlled from the clock. Agree, this is also very convenient while tracking sleep with a watch. And of course, there is an opportunity to set a smart alarm clock on the watch itself. It goes off 5 minutes before the desired time. There are also regular alarm clocks, a stopwatch and timers with a background mode of operation. A few words about communication using a watch. 10 favorite contacts can be transferred to the watch. This is done using the Huawei Health application, and this is done so that it is convenient to make calls directly from the watch without taking your smartphone out of your pocket. It is also convenient that in order to respond to SMS, such quick answers are provided here, quick blanks in order to again answer their okay, yes, good and the like. I note this separately, since you probably know that this watch does not have the ability to respond to notifications from any other applications, for example, messengers. But on text messages there is an opportunity to make such quick answers using the built-in software tools. Also, unfortunately, there will be no quick answers when connected to an iPhone. Just a couple more words about training, as I noticed something that I didn't tell you about in the last part. The first is that after each workout, the watch asks if it is necessary to measure the recovery pulse. As far as I remember, this seems to have not been seen before in other versions of the watch. This is an interesting thing, and if you don't need it, then you can turn it off. The second thing I didn't pay attention to before is that in the training section you can observe the time that remains until the body fully recovers from the last workout. It's quite a convenient thing, because in order to see how much the body needs to recover, you don't even need to go into the application, because this information was previously only there. Well, or at least, maybe I just didn't notice it. Write in the comments whether it was in the old versions of the watch. Well, the third thing that I didn't notice before or didn't pay attention to, perhaps simply, is that the training screen can be customized for yourself. To do this, simply hold your finger on it and you can select any other indicators that you are interested in at this moment in this training. That's exactly respect for this Huawei. This is a really necessary thing, and I don't even know why I didn't pay attention to it before, but it really should work like this. The screen can be customized as you want. Well, the fourth thing I wanted to say is pulse zones. They are literally, in my opinion, on every training screen, they are always visible. And these pulse zones are configured in the Huawei Health application itself. And do not believe those who say that Huawei does not adjust pulse zones. They are being configured. Believe me, go to the application and everything is there, and in different states of the body. Also in the last video I talked about the fact that you can watch your running index on the watch itself. This is a new indicator that has not been displayed on the GT line watches before, but in the smartphone application itself this indicator is even more informative, and in addition to the running index level indicator itself, there is also a graph of its changes, and you can also see the forecast of your best pace based on the current running index at different distances. Dials are a cool way to customize the watch for yourself. You want to change them according to your mood, or under clothes, for example. They can be configured directly on the watch or from the application. Some dials have customizable functions available. Dials on Android can be downloaded for free or bought, they are themed of any kind. But buying dials for an iPhone is not available, but there are a lot of pre-installed ones from the manufacturer here and they are quite different. Well, in the final, a few words about the disadvantages of the watch, which I managed to notice during use. The smaller version of the watch turned off once for me for no apparent reason. It was a connection to an Android smartphone. Well, once I had such a story on my iPhone that the watch settings did not open, although the most interesting thing was that the connection to the smartphone was maintained, data exchange with the smartphone took place, notifications were sent here, step data and in general all the data that the watch collects were sent from the watch to the smartphone, but the settings did not want to open up. I don't know what happened, but there was such a small glitch. And I managed to solve it by reconnecting the watch to the smartphone. That was the problem. Another point is in the small version of the watch. In the last part of the video, I said that I'm a little lacking in vibration strength, sometimes I miss notifications. So, in the end, I had to screw up a little bit here, add a little sound in order not to miss these notifications after all. Here is such a moment of using this watch. Sometimes I don't feel the vibration on them when notifications come. It seems to me too short. If it had been a little longer, then I probably wouldn't have missed these same notifications in messengers. These are all the disadvantages that I managed to notice during use. Well, the watch itself really came to me. I think they are great for those who are satisfied with the set of functions that they offer. Calls, notifications, a stock set of features right out of the box and everything you need for sports. Now it is also possible to connect external chest pulse sensors. It's generally cool. As for me, it's all very decent within the price that is being asked for ours. Well, the design, execution and autonomy in general, I think, will please everyone. For those who plan to buy these watches in Ukraine, there is a small minus. There is no contactless payment here, at least it does not work in our region, and in other regions, as far as I understand, it does not work selectively with all banks, but those that support a certain payment system. I would like to read your opinion about the watch in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, watch my other reviews, and of course watch the first part if you missed it in the other. And Roma was with you before the new videos. Happy New Year, by the way.
You subscribe to my channel, have you pressed the bell? Check it out. You subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. You subscribe to my channel. Did you press the bell?
Check it out.
You subscribe to my channel.